It probably goes without saying that, of course, we all wish we were doing this in person, which we normally do. But like the RMCP class of 2020 has experienced since we started in September, this class has been anything but normal. As you know, due to COVID, we had to rethink how to stage the class of 2020 versus how we normally do it. We only had 2 trips to Indianapolis with 3 days of class sessions each, instead of the normal 3 visits with 2 days of class sessions. And by the time the class returned in November for the last visit, we had to deal with not only COVID starting to spike again across the country, but with continued social unrest in downtown Indianapolis that took place when the students were actually in town. I think what we experienced this semester was a microcosm of the year, and I have to hand it to these students. They handled it as well as they possibly could have, and they became closer as a result. We saw that for ourselves firsthand. I think the word resilient is probably the best I can come up with to describe the resolve of this group and their determination not to let the events of 2020 stop them from their learning and career pursuits. But since a return to Indianapolis in January was just not going to happen this time, we decided to host the Business Improvement Project Finals virtually. So again, welcome everyone. And just a note, we will be taking some screenshots and photos during today's presentation and posting them to social media. So many of you know what the semester project is all about. The students have lived it for the past few months. But for those who don't, it's an application assignment that spans the duration of the semester, and in some cases, as you'll hear today, even longer. We want students to work on something big for their companies while applying what they have learned from class, something that will provide great value for the business and hopefully a return on investment for their participation in RMCP. We estimate very conservatively that since this program started in 2013, these business improvement projects have returned more than $12 million in ROI to the 200 plus student graduates, either in sales gains or expense reductions. And if you do that math, it equates to roughly 5 times the tuition paid to attend. We will definitely add a lot to that total following this class, I assure you. So who is on the call today? Well, we have the 17 students who were part of the fall 2020 class in attendance. It was mandatory for them, so they have to be here. But we also have many of the business owners, or sponsors as we call them, who sent their students through the program. In other words, the folks who wrote the checks for the students to attend. And we're so fortunate that we're also joined by some of the scholarship providers who also wrote checks on behalf of these students, many of them, to offset their tuition and make attending much more affordable through their scholarships. So now I would like to turn our attention to these great industry leaders, our scholarship providers, who have taken time to be with us today and cheer on our finalists. When I introduce you, please feel free to say a few words, if you like, about your support of the program. So from the manufacturing community, let me start by introducing Dave Lewis from Intertape Polymer Group.
And I just want to say, first off, congratulations to all the students that are part of this group. I know it's been a little bit of a different circumstance, but hopefully you've had a chance to learn a lot and have a little bit of fun along the way. I know this day is always one that I look forward to. Wish we could be in Indianapolis doing it right now, but here we are. A little bit about us, like all companies, we're kind of careful and selective on how we spend, any extra marketing dollars that we may have. And we always looking for the best ROI. And we think that this program gives us a huge return on investment, mostly because the independent paint and hardware channel has been our core business and has been that way for probably the last 20 to 30 years. So any way that we can support the individuals that are part of that channel and part of that business to help grow it is something that we're always want to be supportive of. So looking forward to seeing the presentations today, and good luck to all of you.
Thanks so much, Dave. Next, and I think I saw him out there in Zoom land, John Rose from Worcester Brush. John, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, Scott. Thank you. It's great to be able to see some people again, and we miss that part of it. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, and I'd just like to compliment both the association and the students really for hanging in there this year. I'm sure it would have been easy just to pull the plug on it and say, let's take a year off, but you didn't. And so this will be proof of it today. So it's nice to see everyone here today. And, and again, my compliments to you for hanging in with that. Our company, Worcester Brush, has been a supporter of this program since day one. And we just think it's vital to keeping the retail organizations going. And I was really pleased to see the association grow with the addition of the paint people as well. So the paint retailers, the hardware retailers, it's really great to see them on board. And of course, for us being in the paintbrush business, that's has always been such an important part of our life too, would be the paint retailers along with the folks from the hardware side. I've always thought, probably the most important aspect for the students are the relationships that you build. And so again, I'm glad that was continued this year. I just think that along with the things that you learn in class, it's just having all these new friends and having these relationships and really having peers to bounce ideas off all over the country has really been a great thing. So again, I'm glad that was continued. And one other thing before I jump off here, I'm really pleased to be able to be a part of the recognition again of Marcus Moran for the outstanding student and also the contribution I know the association makes to that fund. And he was a great guy, and we certainly all miss him. Okay, back to you, Scott.
Okay, thank you so much, John. Mike Mahoney from Simple Green. I see Mike out there. Mike, you want to say a few things?
Well, hello, Scott. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Scott. First time I've ever been kind of captured in a group of industry leaders. So that's not something that people use to describe me very often. So thank you so much. Simple Green has been, we're 45 years old, and the independent hardware channel is where our roots are. It's an important channel to us. We kind of look to ourselves as a American-owned independent business. We're still owned by the same gentleman that started the company 45 years ago. We root for the local independent American-owned business. So you're important to us. It's where our roots are. We want to continue to work and grow with you guys. I want to echo some of the things Dave and John said. The relationships that you guys have made, and especially in this unique year, are certainly relationships that you'll be able to grow but also utilize not only on personal level, but also on a business level for the rest of your career. So stay in touch with each other. It's so important in this industry that we work together and continue to grow. And just really excited to be part of it. And Simple Green's very excited to continue to invest in the program, and look forward to hearing your guys' presentations today. So good luck.
Thanks, Mike. And now Roger Phelps from Steel USA. Roger?
Thank you for this, and thank you for this opportunity. I can tell you I'm really excited about it. I was thinking about it, and we were just reviewing 2020 and what an incredible year that was. But as I learned when I was in the Navy, in times of crisis, it tends to help focus things, and you tend to focus on the fundamentals and get back to the basics and the very foundation of who you are and what's really important. And so I want to applaud the NHPA, and I want to applaud all the students, because when I think about the fundamentals and I think about the essentials, that's what's being studied here. That's what we're learning, and when I think about Steele and Andrea Steele back in 1926, he founded the company with the idea that our equipment was only good as the service behind it. And that is one of the reasons why we only go through the dealer network. And so when people learn that, steel is only sold through dealers still, they're blown away. But for us, that's the fundamental strength that we have. And so again, I want to applaud that. And we are so proud to be part of this and supporting the independent dealer network, especially in the hardware area, which is our fastest growing segment. At the risk of sounding kind of trite, one of the things I learned when I joined the company and started working with chainsaws is you can have the most horsepower in the world, but if that saw chain is dull, you're not going to get a lot of work done. And when I think about training, That's exactly what it is. It's sharpening the saw, and we're getting better at what we're doing. And so again, I think classes like this and what you all are doing with your projects is sharpening the saw and always getting better at it. And so finally, I just want to say to all of those class or the recipients of the Steele Scholarship that have reached out and sent thank you notes and so forth, we appreciate that. But I just want to reverse that and say thank you. Because of your dedication, your businesses will do better. And when your businesses do better, our business does better. And so we really do appreciate your dedication through times of crisis and through all the craziness, to putting in the time and effort to do what you do. When Andreas went into that Black Forest in Germany in 1926 and saw all those guys using handsaws and axes and said there had to be a better way, he invented the chainsaw as a result. But that core mission of helping is still at the core and the fundamental kind of guiding principle of this family-owned business. And so we're proud that we're part of being able to help you, and we applaud you, and I look forward to the presentations. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Roger. And finally, from the manufacturing community, Bill Sokol from Aero Fastener.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Great to see everybody. I also want to congratulate everybody who's gone through this program. I've had a chance to sit in on some of the sessions in person when we were able to do that before, and I've been really impressed with the quality of the content that this program provides, and also with the way that folks take that content and really apply it to real world problems. At Aero, like several of the sponsors here, we've been around forever, so 91 years this year. And our roots run really deep in the independent hardware channel. Our business and our brand was built there long before there was ever a big box store in the United States. So we have a real affinity for this channel. And I think it's great that this program is pushing that knowledge and pushing the capability forward. When we think of innovation these days, we tend to think of companies like Tesla or our iPhone and really cool stuff. But the truth is that innovation can be applied to anything. And one of the things I've always been impressed with the final presentations from these groups is how folks have been able to take that learning and apply innovative solutions to real world problems in their business operations. There is no end to finding good solutions. There's no end to finding a better way to do things. And I'm really impressed by the way that you all are able to push your businesses forward, utilizing the knowledge that you get from this program. I'll echo Roger and just say that, the better your business does, the better our business does. It's very hard to find a hardware store in North America that doesn't have Aero Staples or our Aero T50 staple gun in it. And we are rooting for you guys every single day. So can't wait to see the presentations today, and congratulations to everybody.
Thank you so much, Bill. And now from some of our co-op scholarship providers, let me next introduce Eric Lane from True Value. Is Eric on the call?
Yep, I am on, Scott. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Great. Just from True Value's perspective, I couldn't think of a better way to kick off 2021 than being here to honor the everybody who's gone through the program. The way we think about our support of the program is in two facets, right? It's not only the learning that you have in the classroom and the things that you're doing that will help better your business and ultimately can continue the independent hardware channel strengthening, but we also think of it as the way you will remember the people you were in class with, and they will become lifelong friends and people that you can rely on throughout the industry. The other thing I would say is kudos. We never knew going into 2020 the unprecedented things and challenges that we would have, and the fact that you made it through when you started and when you finished, the delta between those two things is absolutely significant. So the perseverance to make it through and to be on the Zoom call today is just unbelievable to me and to True Value as we support this. The other thing I would say is all of us, as we went through 2020, looked at every single expense that we had. And True Value knew that this was an expense that we would not only keep but in 2020, but also going forward, because that's how important this program is to us. And so congratulations to all of you, and I look forward to the presentations.
Thank you so much, Eric. And finally, Randy Rusk from Do It Best. And I think I saw Randy earlier.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Randy.
First of all, Scott, let me clear something up right away. Despite my appearance and the razzing from my coworkers, I do not work in air traffic control, nor will I add fries to your order. So rather, I am the director of communications at Do It Best. Do It Best is proud of the sponsorship we've had with the NHPA's Retail Management Training Program. And really that goes all the way back, as several of the other people have already mentioned. We too count ourselves among those who have participated since the program's creation. Why is that? And it's because anytime that we can bring together the future leaders of our industry, not just Do It Best members, but all independent minded folks, and build their knowledge for a more successful future, we think that's a great thing. And we find it fills a necessary void and a need in developing the leadership and the management skills. And we've seen that firsthand in the value that that brings to the next generation of Do It Best store owners. And it's why I'm especially excited today to see Austin's presentation as well as the other participants. So I've got my bag of popcorn. I am ready to sit back and watch the show.
Thank you so much, Randy. And thank you all for your continued support of this program. We could not do it without you. That's just plain and simple. And I ask all the retailers on today's call to remember these great companies and brands when making purchases. These are the companies who are supporting you in your future as independent retailers. So please support them in return. Okay, now, before we get started with our first presentation, I want to introduce our judges, who are also RMCP instructors. First off, we have Kim Peffley, who is RMCP instructor and retail consultant for NHPA. Maybe Kim, if you just wave to everybody. And we have Dr. Rob Matthews, who is the executive director of the Entrepreneurship Institute at Ball State University, as well as an RMCP instructor since the course began back in 2013, like I said earlier. And we have Josiah Gates, who is vice president at Obashan Hardware. Now, Josiah has a unique experience set here. He was a student in our very first RMCP class back in 2013, and he has been an alumni instructor since 2014. And we'll hear more from Josiah a little later in the presentation about his role. So along with myself, these judges have already completed their work, really, of selecting the top 4 finalists out of the 17 really fantastic student presentations that were submitted. We looked at many different criteria when evaluating these presentations, including first, the overall value to the business and ROI potential. We're all about ROI in the RMCP, I'll tell you that now. The quality of presentation and the information delivered, and whether there was a clear path of execution and clear direction toward completion. So today our judges will be asking questions after each presentation during the Q&A portion, if they have any. And in RMCP tradition, after the 4 finalists present, their classmates will vote on who the top presenter is for the class of 2020. So let's, without further delay, let's go ahead and get started with our first presenter. And she is Cecily Cochran from Blyle Co-op. And Cecily will be presenting on an onboarding and training program that they're implementing. So Cecily, take it away.
Hey, RMCP class, it's great to see all of you. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cecily Cochran. I'm representing Blyle Co-op, and today I'll be talking to you about Blyle University. At Blyle Co-op, we have 4 retail locations, our newest location being in Pasco, then there's Sunnyside, Zillah, and Grandview, which works as a hub for all of our orchard and vineyard supply. Each of our 4 retail locations represents hardware, lawn and garden, orchard and vineyard supply, animal and pet health, feed, fencing, and irrigation, all to some degree. However, Blau Co-op is more than just retail. We are able to cover every aspect of the customer's needs through our agronomy, energy, wholesale, orchard and vineyard supply departments. Blau is known for having a variety of divisions that together create a synergetic approach to who Blau is. Our retail division caters to the farmer, the hobbyist, the community member, and any other person looking to find product for their lifestyle. In addition, our energy division is there to service all the Valley and Tri-City area needs for fuels, propane, and lubes. The 360 farm service doesn't end there, as our agronomy division is ready to work with the growers in identifying all crop protection needs. Our company began with 237 farmers coming together in 1964 and pitching in $1 to start the co-op. What that has allowed us to grow into is an $86 million company that now has 933 members. That being said, our promise to our customer in ensuring their farming needs are met aids in the success of the Valley crop production. Within the Yakima Valley, we consist of 3,000 plus farms. We work with 300 specialized crops. We are number 2 in the premium wine production, and we are number 5 in the production of apples, hops, wheat, and potatoes. The Yakima Valley is comprised of 1,780,000 acres of farmland. We have 105,000 people within our communities combined, and we have 96,000 farm workers within our county. In essence, we do have the potential to reach people we aren't reaching at the moment. The value that we add to our customer is a long-lasting impression that is conducive to the customer experience. So with that being said, when you have such a diverse customer base, you run into situations like the one I'm about to tell you. There once was a farmer named John. Like many of the farmers in Yakima County, John has Black Angus cattle. It was a sunny Tuesday morning when he steps off the front porch. Thermos of coffee in hand, he stops, realizing something is very wrong. As he looks over to the east, he sees that Ferdinand, his 1,800-pound bull, has managed to get out of the pasture. After spending more than an hour chasing Ferdinand frustratingly back into the pasture, Farmer John marches to his truck to get new fencing material from his local Blau co-op. Now for the employee experience. Meet Julia. She is a new employee hired at Blau co-op. After finishing a pile of paperwork, she finally gets to start her first day of work. Shortly after arrival, she has been instructed to stand at the cash register, greet every customer that walks through the door, and help them in any way she can. By midday, she's overwhelmed and she is stressed. She's tried to help 10 customers to no avail. Half were looking for products that she's never seen or heard of before. The other half showed visible frustration as they waited for her to ring up their purchases in a painstakingly slow pace. Little does Julia know that Farmer John is on his way and has been off to a very rough morning as well. As professionals in retail, we can all see the two trains that are driving full speed towards each other. But I want to put a pause in this story for just a moment and highlight the true problems within this situation. So our current problems in Blau Co-op is we are experiencing disengaged employees, we're seeing high employee turnover rates, and we're also experiencing dissatisfied customers. Currently, Blau Co-op does not have new hire check-ins. Our training methods are not geared towards individual learning types. Training mentors are not utilized to the fullest extent. Training is not centralized within the company. And employees just don't know what opportunities for growth are available to them. Ultimately, we do have an opportunity for some serious improvement. Next, here you'll see the implementation and collaboration. Off to your left, you're going to see the project timeline. In August is when we obviously pitched the project and began the program. October, we determined employee training needs. In November, we researched onboarding strategies and statistics. In December, we began creating the training outline. January, we've begun pulling all of our training resources. In February, we will start creating our training manual and training the trainers. And then March is when we plan to roll out on our new program. Our three main collaborators for this program are going to be our Human Resources Department, the Blau IT Department, and the Blau Retail Management Team. When deciding what training practices we are going to implement, we realized that not every individual learns the same. So that being said, we had to create an innovative curriculum that implemented several different learning types in order to accommodate each new employee. By utilizing True Value University, the NHPA website, Epicor Learning Center, and implementing a mentor training program, we believe we've done exactly that. Research shows that organizations with a standard onboarding process experience 50% greater new hire retention. The average new hire onboarding experience consists of roughly 54 activities, and 87% say that mentor programs boost new hire proficiency. So B University is our new training program. This comprehensive and extensive training program has been broken down into different levels with the employee in mind. That being said, we would like to introduce to you Sprout Onboarding and the Focused Learning Experience, also known as FLEX. Sprout is a comprehensive and interactive onboarding program that will be conducted by Human Resources. We will look at these new employees as seedlings, as they will need water and sunlight or training and resources in order to grow. The Sprout program will include team introductions, a history of Blau Co-op, standards of excellence training, and a tour of the company. Once employees complete the Sprout onboarding and the human resources segment of their training, they will receive their in-training name badges and move on to the focused learning experience. So within Flex, you can see that we've broken the curriculum down into several different levels. In Flex 100, the retail onboarding curriculum, it will include retail best practices, 3 pennies of profit, telephone techniques, and the Blau Co-op guest approach. In Flex 200, it will be our technology training, which includes Epicor POS training and Blau Co-op transfer and return policies. Flex 300, which is the focused learning module, it's also the meat and potatoes of our entire training program. It's designed to create an all-star employee. This program includes the cashier training, selling skills, all the way up to inventory training. Flex 400 is our continued learning module where they will get to learn special skills. So from here, the employees will learn to dispense propane and kerosene. They'll get the chance to start cutting keys, and they will also learn the ins and outs of our Critter Club pet wash and more. So the next level is Flex 500. All retail department employees will be required to complete Sprout through Flex 400 before they can begin their specific role-based training. This is to ensure that every employee understands how the company operates as well as the roles that work within it. This also helps provide us with every opportunity to make sure that we are always providing the best service for our customers. At Blau Co-op, we want to enhance the culture through training and team building. When employees are confident in what they do and have a common goal, they become more engaged and they're willing to go that extra mile for the customer. Throughout this program, employees will be educated on the language of the company. As they progress through Sprout and Flex, they will start as seedlings, grow into saplings, and then eventually evolve into a full-grown sustainable tree that produces fruit. This agricultural language translates into the development and growth of each employee as they progress through the onboarding and training programs. But the training doesn't stop there. We will be revamping our Blau PIN quizzes. Each employee will get the chance to take a department quiz to test their knowledge and earn pins. These employees will proudly wear their pins that they've earned on their name badges so that customers know they are the experts in their field. So what is the goal? The goal at Blau Co-op is to improve employee engagement and morale. We want to create loyal customers. We want to improve customer satisfaction. We want to increase employee retention and increase employee production. Here you'll see within our financials, our initial investment is $31,150. The contributing costs for this will include the NHPA RMCP course, startup meetings and training prep. It'll also include training the trainers, which we have allotted 8 for a total balance of $16,000, as well as the training materials at $600. Next, you'll see the cost per employee per occurrence, which is a total of $3,200. The contributing costs include the new hire expense of $1,200 and the trainer's expenses at $2,000. This creates a total investment of $34,350+. We have all associated costs are projected for an 80-hour training curriculum that includes Sprout through Flex 400. According to Digitape, the average U.S. employer spends $4,000 in 24 days to hire a new worker. With a negative new hire onboarding experience, your new hire could walk out and effectively double your cost and time to hire. Once you take into account the loss of vacancy, the lost productivity, and the impact on morale, losing an employee so soon after they've been hired is actually much worse than it appears on the surface. So in order to understand the impact of a program, we took a class of new hire employees and put them through the developed training and compared their performance to another group of new hire employees that did not receive any comprehensive training. The data compiled represents a 10-day period at our Grandview location, where Team 1, 2 employees with training, and Team 2, 2 new employees with little to no training, track their transaction counts as well as their average ticket sizes. As you can see, Team 1 was able to complete 333 transactions with an average ticket size of $66.44, where Team 2 was only able to complete 225 transactions with an average ticket size of $41.60. So that being said, what that translates to is Team 1 was able to help 1.5 times more customers, and they increased their average ticket size by 60%. As we continue to look at the ROI, I compared the controlled research to our current retail performances. The difference between the controlled test and our current average ticket size is about 18%. If all of our retail employees performed the same as Team 1 in the controlled research, we could have brought in an additional $2,209,073.71 in 2020. As we move into 2021 and implement this program fully, we expect to see our revenue increase by at least 18%. By implementing these programs, we believe we can increase transaction sizes and production, just as you saw on the previous slides. We also believe that we can increase employee retention and morale, and ultimately create loyal and satisfied customers. We see a loyal customer as someone who thinks of Blau first for all of their needs. Much like Farmer John, who I introduced to you at the beginning of this presentation. As I had shared with you earlier, Farmer John and the employee Julia were both experiencing a pretty tough day, and their problems were about to get much worse once they interacted with each other. But imagine this. What could have happened if Julia had gone through the B University training program that I just discussed with you? So she's completed the Sprout and Flex programs and is ready to take on whatever obstacle comes her way. She confidently navigates the sales floor, and from the front register, she recognizes Farmer John as he walks through the door and sees the frustrated look covering his face. Because she is trained, she can put her customer service skills to the test and offer some assistance. Even though Farmer John started his visit frustrated with his situation, much to his surprise, Julia knew exactly what he needed and was able to get him squared away quite quickly. As Farmer John walked out of the store, he made a mental note to remember Julia and her excellent service. Implementing this program is going to bring knowledge and confidence to our employees, and we look forward to the impact this program will have on our staff as well as our customers. Thank you.
Wow, Cecily, that was fantastic. Great job. Now you can take a big breath. You did a fantastic job. You know, in the history of this program, I would say that onboarding programs and training related programs have probably been the most prominent project theme because it's so difficult, especially the onboarding piece. And I think you really captured the essence of how to overcome some of those challenges. So now let me turn it over to our judges. I'm sure they have some questions for you.
Well, I unmuted first, so I guess that means I get to go first. I second what Scott said. That was an excellent presentation. You did just as good this time live as you did in your recording, so congratulations.
Thank you, Sam. Thank
I
you.
really, really enjoyed the story of Farmer John. I could really feel that experience as someone who grew up and spent so much time in retail. I did see those 2 trains coming and see how bad it could go, but I love what you talked about and how you could change that experience. I also really like how you named the university and then specifically talked about Sprout and Flex. How did you come up with those names?
So that was actually, it was very interesting. We wanted to stick with the culture of the company, being as we're trying to win for the farmer. Since we are an ag-based business, we wanted to, again, have kind of an agricultural type name. So that's really where Sprout came from. The focused learning experience, I think it kind of speaks for itself. We really wanted it to point out exactly what topics and what training techniques that we really wanted to implement and instill in those new employees.
That's great. Thank you. I love the graphics you put along with it too. And
thank you.
Whenever you say Sprout and Flex, you get a big smile on your face. So I could tell you're very passionate about it. I wish you the best of luck. Great job.
Thank you.
Cecily, truly exceptional job. Very well done. Proud of you. A few questions for you. What do you anticipate the time frame would be from when you onboard someone in Sprout till where they go through Flex 400?
So we broke the time frame into hours because we know that we're going to be hiring on full-time and part-time employees. So we have kind of gone through all of our training processes and figured out about how much time each segment's going to take. So Sprout through Flex 400 is going to be an 80-hour training curriculum. If you want to break that down in a matter of weeks, it really depends on that individual new employee's training schedule. So if they're a full-time employee, they may be able to complete that in the course of 2 weeks, whereas a part-time employee, it might take them just a little bit longer.
Okay, that makes sense. Are you able to flip back to the financials slide?
Let me see here.
Yes. No.
That one?
That one. So just a question about this. The 3,200, is that the cost to train each person through like 400 then?
Yes. So that is for Sprout through Flex 400. And that is per occurrence. So that would be per new employee, each time we run them through this training. Okay.
So your sunk cost is 31,000, and then your variable then per new employee is the 3,200.
Yes, it essentially depends on how many employees we decide to hire on that year.
Okay. The thing that's, I think you're 34,000. Then I probably would have left that slide out, but
okay.
So that's just a little thing though. But what's impressive about this is, this whole onboarding and training program and the investment you're making per employee, that is really Disney-esque type depth and commitment and cost. That's really impressive, and it will have a huge impact on your company. I think, just as a comment, something you need to be thinking about is with this front-loaded investment, you're going to have a way to reinforce the values and what you were trying to train and the behaviors you desire. I think this is the next step for you, is how are we going to reinforce what we're looking for and what's important to us to keep it alive and to keep it kind of true to the original intention. But I think it's really noble. Says a lot about Blyle that you're so committed to this. So that's great. Maybe flip forward a few slides to the financials. No, not the financials. The goal, like the results. Let's see. Oh, by the way, the whole like that's like a university study, like with a control group. That blew my mind. Like I haven't
Thank you.
like that in these presentations. So that was
it was quite interesting to see that the team was starting to get very competitive with each other, and they've actually almost begun fighting to be at the registers because they want to increase that number. So it's been pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, what valuable information. On the goals, like the results goals. Yeah, that's
okay.
it. So do you have ways to measure any of this stuff? Like, I mean, obviously ticket size you can measure, but what about like, do you have any numbers on employee retention or turnover, and then engagement?
So the employee turnover or retention, I do have a few numbers. Our system wasn't able to go very far back. And I think with 2020 and COVID, some of those numbers might just be a little bit skewed. As for the employee engagement, that's also something that we are trying to measure with our mentor program as well. It helps create those connections with those veteran employees, and really allows them to learn more. And they can also feel that culture as well. You know, our employees who have been here for several years in the same position, they want to know, our new employees, they want to know, why are you here? You know, what's so great about Blyle? And I think that also kind of gives them the opportunity to express those as well.
Yeah. I think another thing moving forward would be just data, like know your employee turnover numbers and keep track of that. And because you want to have a kind of a story to tell out of this and to see how it worked. But
Okay.
Great job.
Thank you.
Okay, great questions, Rob and Cecily. Great answers to those questions.
Thank you.
For time's sake, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next presentation. So, Josiah, hold on. We'll get to your questions first.
Sorry, Josiah.
It's all right. Okay, our next presenter, and again, Cecily, fantastic job. Our next presenter will be Austin Deal from Randy's Do It Best Hardware, and Austin will be presenting on a gross margin enhancement program that is very extensive. So, looking forward to hearing this. Austin, take it away.
All right, let me just hide all of these. All right, there we go. I hope everybody's doing well and everybody's off to a great 2021. My name is Austin Deal. I'm the Director of Retail Operations for Randy's Hardware Incorporated, and my project is Gateway to Gross Margin. I'd like to give you a little background on my company and where we're from and where we're going so you can see the value in my project. So our company was founded by Randy and Shirley Andes. Randy has over 35 years of experience in independent hardware retail. And in 2001, he decided he wanted to open his own store. So he opened our flagship store in Timberville. And thanks to an expansion in 2012, this is now our largest store. Our company was built on 4 core values: family, integrity, selflessness, and knowledge. I also knew that this would be archived, so I did put in our mission statement, but I will save you from reading that right now. So we're currently growing. And that growth started in 2011 when Randy opened his second store in Bridgewater, Virginia. And this was our first store that was a standalone store. 8 years later, in the fall of 2019, we had the opportunity to open our third store in Mount Jackson, Virginia. This store had actually previously been operated as Zirkle's Hardware for over 50 years in that location. And then, you guessed it, in the fall of 2020, we opened our fourth store in Ruckersville, Virginia. And this was our first store outside of our home Shenandoah Valley. So this is where you normally talk about the problem, but really problems are just opportunities for success. And our opportunity was in gross margin percent. I took a look at the NHPA's cost of doing business study over the last few years, and I noticed that our industry average for that percentage was 42.4%. Now I have about 3 years of really good data, and our average was 41.1. And that's 1.3% less than the industry average. So if you apply that to our 2020 total revenue, we actually left about $43,000 on the table. So what caused that, and how can we fix it? So I started thinking about issues and what could have caused our dip in gross margin. And I thought, well, especially in 2020, our cost of goods went up. And we didn't really have a good price change rhythm in place to account for these costs going up. So I decided I was going to initiate a price change rhythm. And then I thought, what else could help? Well, a trained staff sells better projects and products, and that can also lead to increased gross margins. So I decided to develop a focused training program. So let's talk about price changes a little bit. So we use a software called Margin Master, and Margin Master allows you to put in rules, and then it goes and gets industry data from Do It Best and also through Epicor on pricing benchmarks. And it applies our rules against those pricing benchmarks and recommends increases and decreases that it would like to see based on our rules. So how do you implement that? What day? What rhythm? I started thinking about what day would be best for us. And across our company, Thursday is our slowest day of the week. So we have the labor there. And I figured if we could just do our price changes on Thursday, we wouldn't have to add any additional labor, especially because we decided to do them in batches and spread them out throughout the course of a couple quarters. So the batches were, I guess, batched or made by department. And I try to keep the batches no more than 550 tags. That way, our teams could get them put out in one day. Because what I didn't want to see is any customer disappoints or customer going to the register and prices being wrong. So it was really important to me to make sure that all this could happen in the shortest time frame as possible. And of course, we can just raise price. We'll all make a lot more money, and everything will be right. Except that's not how it works. So I knew I had to be cognizant of our price image. And we did a few things to try to help combat that price increase. One of the things we do is we buy in bulk and using quantity price breaks to try to buy in quantities to get our prices down, especially on A items and items that we sell a lot throughout the year. We also use special buying opportunities like markets, vendor shows and vendor discounts and promotional windows, not to mention monthly specials, or we're with Do It Best, so we have Red Hammer deals. And we buy value products that we can put on end caps and in dump bins that provides value to the customer while still maintaining our margins. And of course, what's a good plan without follow-up? So I set up a few checkpoints for follow-up on execution. And the way that our execution is set up is that on Wednesdays, I will execute all of our price changes through Margin Master. And then I load them into the label machines for the next morning, and our store managers come in, go into the label software, they print the labels and give it to their teams to hand out and get put up. Now, these checkpoints also provide a really good data point for us where I can touch base with our store managers and I can see any obstacles that they may have, and we can work together to overcome those obstacles. The second part of my project was training, and I utilized the NHPA training website. And if you haven't used it, it is awesome. So one of the things I like most about it is I can actually create groups. And so I created a group for each store. And then I was able to load employees into each group with the store that they work at. I could then assign trainings based on whatever the quarter that we're currently in called for, and it had end dates or due dates that I could set so that would make sure that we're headed towards the progress and that we're trained in the time that we need to be trained. I designed a course that mixed product and project knowledge. That way our teams are able to not only know more about the products that they're talking about and selling to customers, but also the projects. You know, project selling is pretty big in our industry right now. And it's been a real big focus of ours is to try to sell the entire project, not just what they came in to buy. And of course, I timed the trainings to correspond with what department sold at what point in the year. So for instance, in Q1, which for us is January through March, we're focused on lawn and garden. And the reason is that our big season starts in April. And by April, I want to make sure that my teams are trained and my departments are priced to take advantage of that start of our busiest season. And we do that throughout the year. Another example is we use a project training through Project Pro, and we did deck maintenance. But we did it in the fall because that's when most people in our area are redoing their decks. So I wanted, again, my team to be knowledgeable about the projects that people are coming and asking about, so we're able to capitalize on our goal. So what's going to come of all of this? Here are my projected outcomes. So for price changes, as it sits now, we have a total number of price changes of about 17,000 tags. About 2/3 of those tags are actually increasing in price, but 1/3 is decreasing in price. And that's to try to deliver the price image that we're looking for. The average price change was about $1.06. Now, 2021 was pretty tough to forecast against, as it was, different for us, especially in our industry. We had, a great year. So I had to go off of our forecasted total revenues for 2021, which was a negative year-over-year comp of about 13.5%. And I applied that to Margin Master's annual impact. Now, Margin Master's annual impact essentially tells you how much money you can expect to receive from making these price changes based off of terms. So obviously it was going to be a little skewed to start. But after adjusting it, it looks like our forecasted Margin Master annual impact is about $86,000. And on the other side of training, organically, we're going to see a lift in average sale just because we're selling things just a little bit higher. But I still see that we're going to see an estimated lift in average transaction of about 15 cents. And doing the same forecasting against our transaction count, that brings our transaction count to 132,000. And I applied the industry average of 42.4% gross margin, and that yielded an $8,400 gain towards gross margin. So when you add the two together, our total gross margin dollars added from this project is going to be $95,249. That's all good, right? It's all projected, forecasted, looks great on paper. But I actually had the opportunity to do my project, to start my project in Q4 of 2020 as a proof of concept. So I had done the full quarter. I used the same plan that I have projected for the rest of the year. We did plumbing and paint. And let's take a look at some numbers and see what it actually did for us. So you'll see Q4, our 3-year average gross margin was under 40% at 39.9%. It's our worst quarter of the year. But in Q4 of 2020, which is when we implemented my plan, we actually averaged a gross margin of 43.6%. And when I took that net gain and went against the 2020 total revenue, it actually increased our gross margin $25,000. Now that's actual money in the bank, and it was a great proof of concept. And we were really excited, once all the math dust settled and we got to see what it really translated to, we were extremely excited to see this number. So in conclusion, I have a projected gross margin of $120,000 for my project. That does include Q4 of 2020. I have a projected cost once you take into consideration how much Margin Master actually costs us, the cost of the label paper for the total number of labels, and the additional training labor that we put in, which was about 2 hours per employee per quarter. And our projected profit added from this project is $1,112,000. So I just want to say thank you to the NHPA now and Scott, and thank you all for listening to my presentation.
Don't worry, Austin. I get it confused sometimes still too. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Hey, fantastic job. I really love how you tied in the use of our cost of doing business study for benchmarking, and also the incremental improvement sessions that were presented back in September. And, when looking at the gross margin dollar, this is not, sales gain. These are gross margin dollars. It's what you take to the bank. It's not hard to see how we can easily get to that $12 million in ROI from these 200 student projects. So with that, as promised, I'm going to start with Josiah this time.
Thanks, and I won't take all the time like Rob did on the last one. Yeah. Good afternoon, Austin, and nice presentation. So let me start there. But I was just, I was reflecting on your presentation, and I feel as though we were faced with something similar, and you had to kind of adjust the sales as you went in 2020, and you recognized a problem and you reacted on the problem. So I commend you for that. And even though it was a banner year, and I'm sure everybody on this meeting knows that 2020 was a banner year, I applaud you for recognizing and reacting. So number one. One thing you got to be careful of is there's such a thing as maintaining margin percent and then driving additional gross margin dollars. And how much of those changes was maintaining margin percent, and how much was actually driving additional gross margin dollars in the company? And just as long as you're measuring the additional gross margin dollars above maintaining margin percent, perfect job there. And then the training aspect and increasing the add-on sales will definitely also help drive the drive the margin up as well. So great job all the way around. Just always remember the thought of maintaining margin versus driving extra margin dollars. So
thank you, Josiah.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Great points, Josiah. Kim, Rob, how about you guys?
Great job, Austin. I mean, really good stuff. Great numbers. You're kind of a numbers guy, but great job. I have one question for you. You are the one executing the price changes on Wednesdays, right?
That's correct. Wednesday evening, I do the actual margin master and load the prices into our system, and then set up the labels for the store management and their teams to actually execute putting them off.
Okay.
Put them out.
So I have one pleasant question off of that and one not so pleasant question off of that.
Okay.
The pleasant question is, what happens when you are on vacation on a Wednesday?
Yes. So I guess what I would need to do, what I would do in that case is I'd probably need to train my high potential, store manager, and have him also being able to do it. We do have also that our CEO Christian Herrick is very good with Margin Master as well. So he could also step in and execute the same way that I could.
Okay. That might answer the not so pleasant side of the question. But I think it's a question we should always ask ourselves, right? Or ask of our business is, what happens if a key employee goes down, like is in the hospital, sick, dies? I mean, then who takes over? Who's prepared to take over that key function? Because we see the impact. I mean, we see the financial impact. So maybe that's a further extension of that. That's why I said it was kind of unpleasant, because nobody wants to think about that. But the businesses who do think about it, when tragedy strikes, they're ready for. Or if you just need to turn your attention to something else, that would be another piece of it. So, but really good job. I love the pilot. You got better results than you thought you would. That's awesome when that happens. So
yes, certainly.
Good job.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, to echo Rob's point, I think with the quality of this project, Austin, you'll probably be put on many other projects. So yeah, finding that key person who can step in and fill that role is key. Kim, how about you?
Yeah, and just to kind of second again what Rob had said is I completely agree. And anytime you get to learn something new, it's an opportunity to bring someone with you. So you can bring someone along. And by doing this project twofold, to have the gross margin aspect and the training aspect, it's a great opportunity to talk about that and say, this is something that I've dived into and learned, and I want to make sure I bring someone with me. I just wanted to touch on, because I think it's being said less and less, and I'm a big supporter of this. I love that you said problems are just opportunities for success. And I just want to commend you for that, because I'm a strong believer in that. And as you're doing a lot of training, I would encourage your team to do the same and learn from the same, and to look at some of the things that may come down their path and remind them that it's just an opportunity to grow more, to learn more, to sharpen that saw, right? So again, great presentation, and I think you did a good job.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, one more thing I want to say.
Okay.
This is a great example of the power in little things.
Yeah.
I mean, 1.3% margin change can have a huge impact on a company. So, Austin, it's just a great example for everyone here today that the little things matter and that makes a difference. And if you slough them off, which you didn't do, you never realize those gains. And those are things that can radically change a business. Put all the little things together and look what you have. So good job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. The power of incremental improvements, as Phil and Gary taught us. Okay. Again, great job, Austin. Now we'll move on and hear from Adrian Nayland from Wilco. And Adrian is going to be presenting on a new special order program. So Adrian, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. My name is Adrian Nayland, and I am with Wilco. And today I'm excited to present my project I've been working on for our class called the Not So Special Order Project. So first off, just a little bit about Wilco. We are a farmer-owned cooperative. We recently opened our 22nd farm store and our first in California. And through our farm stores, we operate our online presence through farmstore.com. Where currently one location is shipping to home, and then at all locations, customers can do purchases and then drive through loadout for pickup. In Donald, Oregon, we have our hazelnut processing facility, and through here, we also package and distribute a retail line of hazelnuts under the Oregon Orchard brand. At Wilco Energy, we deliver bulk fuel to farms and homes. We also set up propane tanks and deliver propane. And then for our agronomy side of the business, we have a joint venture with Valley Agronomics. So just a little history on special orders. Up until 2013, we were processing all of our orders with a paper copy like you see on the screen. And then late 2013, we started utilizing the Epicor system, also using the buyer's list for our central buying for these. So I was tasked with analyzing where we are today, and then just seeing if there's any opportunities to enhance the process, and if the way we're doing it today could handle it for if we doubled our business size. So first off, we looked at our current strategy, and our current strategy is to accommodate customer requests, but do not seek out non-stock special orders. So how that looks when a customer comes in is, and they're looking for a product we don't carry, we will try to show them a product we have on hand that might fit their needs. So something that's different, but that could work for them. If that doesn't work for the customer, we will then look for a local or an online source where we can send that customer to purchase. And if that doesn't work for the customer and they ask us to do the order, we will accommodate that request. So how that looks is with one basic special order, we have about 14 touch points. And that's a pretty basic order. So if there's a long-term back order and we have to communicate with a customer, or we have a question about the order, these touch points can dramatically increase. So I had the opportunity to sit with each person through these roles and just look at their overall job, shadow them for the day. And what I determined is we had a couple orders, as more people participate with these, we had some where customers' orders were falling through the cracks. So we were disappointing customers. And not only were we disappointing customers, some of our employees were frustrated as well, because you have to have a really good knowledge of our ordering system and our vendors to help a customer in the store. So further analysis, we sent a survey to all of our employees that deal with special orders every day. And one question we asked is, what is Wilco's strategy for special orders? And it was pretty clear that our employees were confused. They weren't sure if they should go above and beyond to help a customer, like we do for our customer service, or just avoid it altogether. The next question we asked is what would make it better? And as I read these comments, it was clear we needed a better form of communication. We needed to be able to let everyone see what the status was, make it really simple and easy. So next we looked at some financials. So over the past 12 months, we've sold $550,000 in special order merchandise at a 23% gross margin, which isn't a lot when you think about how many people are touching each and every one of those orders. But through the survey, we also determined that 97% of our employees felt like our customers appreciated the ability to do a special order. And over 70% felt like we should offer them to our customers. And it was a little bit confusing until we analyzed our Wilco Family Rewards data in line with those special orders. So our Wilco Family Rewards customers are our most loyal customers. They're the customers that shop with us every single day. And when we cross-analyzed the $550,000 with the Wilco Family Rewards, that accumulated about $7 million in business. And these customers spent on average of $3,804 per year with us, which is 7 times higher than our average customer. And they also shopped with us 34 times a year, which is 4 times higher than our average. So at that point, our most loyal customers are basically begging us to shop with us, and we are accommodating if we can. So we thought maybe we need to make this easy. And how can we make it easy and increase these special orders? So the first thing we did is look to a change for our strategy. So if it's a product we don't have, our strategy would be to how can we help you get it? So let's look at how that customer interaction looks. So this is our customer, and she came into Wilco to purchase a pair of boots for her husband. So as she's customer serviced by our salesperson, they soon discovered that that boot that they're looking for is not stocked in our store. So at this point, our salesperson lets the customer know we don't have that in stock. I can show you something different we do have in stock, or we can see how fast we can get this for you. So this particular customer wanted this boot ordered. So the next step would be to take the customer over to the kiosk that we have set up in the store. It's important to note that this kiosk is already coming to our locations with a different project. This kiosk will have all of our products loaded from our warehouse and yard with all of the information, so customers can go over there and look up the information and print little tickets to take to the register. But at this home screen, our salesperson will check the hidden icon and enter their employee ID. At that point, it will launch them to farmstore.com. At farmstore.com, we will take all of our current vendors and load all of the merchandise that they carry, creating an endless shelf option through farmstore.com. The salesperson will then help the customer search for the boot they're looking for and let them know the information so they could have the product shipped to their home or shipped to the store. This particular customer wanted it shipped to their home. So right at the kiosk, then they're able to take the payment. Once that's complete, it goes directly to our vendor, which will then pick and pack and ship according to our specifications. It ships to the customer's home and we have a happy customer. So because we were able to track the employee's ID with the purchases through the kiosk, we built in a 1% reward for these sales for the employees. We also wanted to improve our internal procedures as well. So we created a customer order dashboard for us Wilco employees. Within here, we can see all the orders that are run through the farmstore.com and see their status quickly so we can communicate with a customer. And as items are shipped to a location and our receivers mark them as arrived, instead of calling, these customers will get text and email alerts letting them know that their order is ready for pickup. We will pick and stage these similar to how we do our e-com orders today. And currently we're not at full capacity for that storage space, but it'll be an area that we'll continue to monitor going forward. We also do a lot of orders for large equipment, stuff that we get in full semi-loads to the location, and that just wouldn't be feasible to have shipped to a customer's house. So these items will be flagged to ship to store only with an extended timeline to help accommodate those truckload orders. And then as the customer pays, they'll only be charged a deposit for that order. And when it's marked arrived to the location, the remaining will be charged to the customer. One question that continued to pop up as we were doing this is, what are we going to name it? Are we going to advertise it? Do call outs in the store? And at this time, the answer is no. We really wanted to increase efficiency, make it so every employee could help a customer in the store, and make it easy for the customer as well. We will continue to advertise our farmstore.com on our flyers like you see there, but it's not a call out that we'll do in the store. So our return, we took our current sales of $550,000 and we calculated out an 8% growth each year, which is in line with our overall store growth each year. And then for the e-com, the endlessshelffarmstore.com, we calculated pretty modestly at $250,000 for year one with a 10% growth. And then each year after that, a 15% growth, which is also in line with the plan for the e-com growth. Our current gross margin is at 23% in store. And our calculation is that that will slowly erode. And that's only because of the higher freight charges you have associated with e-com orders. Investment will be pretty high for year one. We're running around $163,000. 100 of that will be for our web developer, about 30,000 for that customer order dashboard. And then we have to enhance those kiosks to have data and those credit card readers. Year two, we will look at more smart analytics. So we will, as customers do orders on farmstore.com and we have product in the stores that may be overstocked, it'll prompt the store to ship the item out instead of going directly to the vendor to help us streamline our inventory a little bit there. We did calculate in $5,000 each year for maintenance. And then we have the employee rewards for in-store purchases at 1%. And that will continue to monitor each year for feasibility. So overall, our return on investment for year one is pretty flat, but each year steadily increase after that. So month 1 through 3, we'll be working pretty exclusively with the web developer, creating that platform and that customer order dashboard. And then we have a pretty robust internal procedures that we would need to develop, mostly around our file maintenance. Accounting procedures are really big in this process, customer care, and our receiving. Then months 4 through 6, we'll start uploading our vendors into farmstore.com. Some of these vendors work with dealers like us every day and have done this 100 times, so they'll be really easy. Others will have to be a little bit, it's going to take us a little bit more time. We'll have to build out those APIs. And then just the overall details with the vendors, we need to let them know what kind of boxes we want the product shipped in, what shipping vendor we want used, that type of details. We'll fully test out our kiosk, making sure it's working properly, all the bugs are worked out, and document out our how-to in the store. Document out the employee incentive program, and then install the credit card readers and data to the kiosks. Implementation, the final 2 weeks of month 6, we will do several sessions of live Zooms where all Farm Store employees will complete this. And then going forward, this will be incorporated into our floor service training, which every new hire goes through today. So that way we catch all employees are trained through the stores. Overall, the goals for this project were really to look at our core target customers. Our goal is to be their favorite store. So this strategy is how can we help you get it will really help alleviate or help get us to these goals. One employee said through the survey, I I believe to better serve our customers' needs, we want to provide great service and communication for special orders, to be accurate on price and availability. And these were things that we thought of through the whole way, like trying to make sure we hit all these goals. And we really, just the name, the not so special orders, we wanted to take the special out of special orders and make it really easy. And I believe that's what we did with the new strategy and the kiosk implementation. So thank you.
Okay, great job, Adrian. Fantastic project. And one thing I can say, Wilco has probably sent, I would say, north of 15 students, 16 students through this program to date. And I had the pleasure, I think 2 years ago, to go see their Redmond store opening. And I could see the implementation of probably 5 or 6 or 7 of these projects. And so Wilco has always been a planning company, and you do a great job. And many times you use this program to plan some of these very innovative initiatives. So again, congratulations. So let's get to some questions, judges.
I'll go first. So first of all, great presentation, and nice. I scrolled across all the attendees, and great to see TJ on as your sponsor. And hi, TJ. We went to class together back in 2013, and I had the opportunity to come to your grand opening. It was actually I think one of the last times I traveled in 2020 was to come and see your grand opening in Oswego, I believe it was. So, and you guys really do a fantastic job. So I want to start out by just complimenting you on all that. This is a hard project. I want to say that. And the efforts with the technology behind the scenes is definitely challenging. And one of my concerns, and just a question mark, is, you wanted to put everything on the site that was available from all vendors. How are you setting it up with the vendors to ship directly to customers, or are you going to pull it into your warehouse and then reship it out? And with the likes of Amazon and things like that, and with slow shipping right now, do you see that as being any challenge in getting this off the ground?
No, through our data that we ran, we really want to launch at 80% loaded of our vendors. But really, when we looked at the data, I think we ran it like 26 months, and we would be fine to cover our special orders probably at 60%. But no, a lot of our vendors are doing this with their customers today. So I know some of our vendors are shipping for Amazon. So we're pretty lucky there. And those are the major special order vendors that we're working with today. So no concerns there. And no, we would have the vendors ship directly to the customer.
Very good. And then the only other concern that I had was I noticed you projected a margin decrease over time.
Yeah.
And what do you attribute that to?
That's mostly for the freight charges. So you will have quite a bit higher freight. We also will have to pay a slightly more, a higher rate for our cost of goods when we do this for the vendors to pick it for us. So we'll have 2 pricing strategies. So one shipping to the store and one for the farm store business. So that's the lower, but basically it's all, we're not touching the product. So it's income coming in greatly, but it still will decrease just with those freight charges.
Understood. And one last question, and obviously the digital transformation that we've all experienced in 2020 and will continue in 2021 obviously needs to be on all of our minds. And I noticed you guys are doing the drive-through pickup, which I commend you for, and that must be done by like a text alert or something that you guys have set up, which is awesome. My next question, and I know you guys do some of this, but do you have any plans of offering a delivery service? You know, every time you turn a corner, you see an Amazon van, right? So, does Wilco have any plans on using either a third party to do delivery or in-house? Just a question mark.
Good question. We actually do have delivery already, and we just don't have it launched on our farm store site yet, but that is coming. So it's so close. It's like right there. So that will be coming, I'm sure, within the next couple of months, but we deliver in store today, and we're ready to deliver using the farm store site as well.
And I just think you copied us on farmstore.com because we have hardwarestore.com. So I think you just copied us. So TJ, you and I are going to have to talk. All right. Thanks. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, delivery service was a former student from Wilco's project for RMCP. So interesting you brought that up. Kim, Rob, any questions?
I have a couple questions for you. I love how you did a survey in the beginning with your staff and got some mixed results, which I think kind of helped drive and change the direction that you went. Will you continue to do surveys as it gets launched to make sure that it's staying accurate with the folks that are on the floor?
Sure. We already survey our employees every year. So these projects come about from comments on the survey, you know, like frustrations that employees are having. Yeah, we did this little survey just to gauge, you know, how much people understood our current strategy and what they thought of it overall. And we may, after it comes out, but I think we'll really be able to tell through. Our employees are really good about letting us know, like, if something's not working or it's working well. But yeah, it's something we could consider for sure.
Yeah, I think that at least to have some form of an outlet for them to express what they think is working and what isn't working may help you to resolve a lot of the little issues in the beginning, especially since some folks may personality type want to communicate and some may not. So you may miss on some valid points there. And then my second question is, do you plan on testing it in one store, or are you going to roll it out in all stores at the same time?
Our plan was to roll out all at once. We normally do a one store, like a pilot, but it's really hard to stay, you know, because we have our merchant analysts and our inventory planners all with their hands in it. So then we didn't want to be running two different processes at once. It's too hard to manage. So we felt like this was digital enough. We should just be able to launch it straight out of the gate.
Great. Yeah, excellent project. I think the employees will really be on board, especially since they can earn an incentive back. So great job. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, good job, Adrian. Really, really good job. Your leadership, I think, through this whole program is just so evident. I think you would be a great person to work with and work for. And, you know, just your problem solving in this project, like, we're going to take the pain points away, was just so well done. I kind of echo what they've said already, but one thing, so the orders that go into the store, were you able to narrow down the 14 touch points? Were you able to reduce to a lower number of touch points?
Yeah, because we're not calling. Well, I mean, we'll still have to check in. Yeah, I think we'll be down to, I think five touch points.
Awesome. And I love that you brought that in, because people don't talk about touch points enough. I mean, there's just so many places we can have hiccups with the customer and with our own team. And you did a good job with that too. So great job.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Adrian. Thank you so much. Okay, batting cleanup today. We have Danica Pink, again from Blile, which is fantastic that Blile had two students that made the finals with separate projects. So that's fantastic. And Danica is going to be talking about their new pricing strategy. So Danica, take it away.
Hi, my name is Danica Pink, and I'm representing Blile Co-op. Today, I will be discussing my Better Pricing Strategy program. So Blyle Co-op was founded by the Blyle brothers, Alex and Carl Blyle, in 1964. Together, they gathered 237 farmers who each put forth $1, and together they started Blyle Co-op. Today, Blyle Co-op has evolved into 4 divisions: retail, agronomy, wholesale, and energy. Underneath the Blyle umbrella, there is also a small engines department, irrigation department, C-store, and fencing department. Together, these pieces make up Blyle Co-op and work together to provide 360 degrees of service for our farmers. Our purpose at Blyle Co-op is to provide a way of life for our members and community. We have 4 retail locations that each are located throughout Central to Eastern Washington that each serve a diverse customer base: Pasco, Grandview, Sunnyside, and Zilla. Our Pasco location is our newest facility and is also home to the Co-op Critter Club self-service pet wash, as well as the Great Harvest Bread Company. Our Grandview location acts as a warehouse for all wholesale products and contains our deli that is famous for its chicken tenders. Our Sunnyside retail location also includes our irrigation and fencing departments. Our Valley locations are approximately 10 miles apart from one another, and each location caters to a local community different from one another. Throughout the past couple of years, we've seen a gradual increase of new competitors coming in our area, as well as existing competitors improving their infrastructures and adding comparative selections of product. In the previous years, we didn't have to worry about the possibility of our customers shopping and price matching other retailers because we held such a strong reputation of industry standard. Throughout our brand, although our brands and products are better quality and continue to hold the reputation of industry standard, people care about savings, and those who can offer the best price for the products they are shopping for is who they will purchase from. So as you can see by the number and proximity of our competitors, it's crucial that Blyle Co-op brings our A game when it comes to pricing. Washington agriculture is very diverse. We grow over 300 commodities and are the leading producers of apples, blueberries, hops, pears, spearmint oil, and sweet cherries. At Blyle Co-op, we have expanded our services and products to meet this demand and have developed the motto, "Win for the farmer." We currently have just over 900 members who farm approximately 478,000 acres of wheat, row crops, apples, hops, cherries, grapes, and hay. Combined, our members also raise around 41,000 dairy cattle and other livestock. At Blyle Co-op, we serve a diverse customer base. Ultimately, our ideal customer is the farmer, but with over 96,000 farm laborers in the Yakima Valley, the B2B and B2C customers are similar customer bases. Therefore, our B2B and B2C pricing needs to work for everyone. So along with the farmer and the laborer, our other customers include the hobbyist or the backyard farmer, pet owners, homeowners, and then our livestock producers such as our 4-H and FFA members. Now that you know more about our company, our location, and our customer, here's what I hope to achieve with this project. Our goal is to create a loyal customer base, improve our pricing perception within the community, increase profitability, increase market competitiveness, and to make sure that every item within the store has a place on the shelf and an accurately priced shelf tag. And then also to provide a long-term pricing solution for Blyle Co-op. At Blyle Co-op, we have a minimal and unsuccessful pricing strategy and update program in place. Our current procedures include a daily report that is sent out to our inventory team that includes items selling at or below cost, and our receivers notifying our inventory and purchasing teams when the cost of a product has increased based upon the invoices at check-in. We do not currently have any SOPs when it comes to pricing, and our previous inventory-wide reprice was done back in November of 2018. Upon purchasing a new product, a 35% margin is automatically generated by our system unless differentiated by our purchaser. In the past, price matching has also been done at the discretion of each manager. So overall, underutilization of systems and lack of reactivity for pricing has us leaving money on the table and not providing our customer with the best possible pricing. What a year. We've had COVID-19, wildfires, tariffs, destruction of crops and food supplies, H-2A labor shortages, and closed borders that have halted the transportation of goods. Overall, 2020 has been a year that accentuated the hairline fractures within the supply chain and agriculture industry. All of this combined with the unorganized pricing strategy that we currently operate with had us realizing how much money we were actually leaving on the table. And to top it all off, Blyle Co-op has bad data. Transferring from a green screen operation to a technologically advanced program left us with messy data that has never been addressed. We've been operating on this data for the past 4 years, and before we could implement an inventory-wide reprice, this issue needed to be addressed. Movement codes are currently being sorted by our inventory team, and old and unused SKUs have been purged for a fresh start with accurate data. My project's timeline began back in September when I first pitched the idea of a pricing strategy. In October, I completed a market analysis on local competitors and developed a pricing strategy designed for our retail locations. In November, we established movement codes and reevaluated margins. Last month, we developed a pricing calendar, and this month, our inventory team is hoping to finish up our SKU dump and data cleanup. The key players throughout this project is our marketing department, our inventory and purchasing teams, and our retail specialists at each local level. So what's the problem? There are many different strategies to choose from. I came up with one that I feel will be the best fit for Blyle Co-op and our customers. By reevaluating margins, offering competitive pricing, and showcasing value to our customers, we can increase profitability for Blyle Co-op and improve our pricing perception both internally and externally. As discussed earlier, the key players in this program is myself in the marketing department, our inventory team, and our retail specialist at each location. The figure to the right determines what has been and will be done in order for this process to run smoothly. It's also color-coded by who will be performing the tasks. So starting with the market analysis that I completed, moving down to our inventory team organizing our movement codes, back to me with the pricing strategy and calendar. So with our pricing calendar, the way that works is 3 weeks out of each month is allotted for merchandising and changing prices. 1 week out of each month is allowed for any type of catch-up or for purchasing. So there, our inventory team will send out weekly price changes on Monday morning, which will be sent out to our retailers. They will go throughout the store and merchandise, print out new shelf tags, put out products. They will also flag items with new lower prices with a custom Blyle branded tag. They will then notify the inventory team that they are done pricing items, and inventory will go in and update prices within the system. And then I'll be monitoring this project to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So overall, communication between the locations, the marketing department, and our inventory coordinator is key to the implementation and maintenance of this program. Around 70% of our inventory comes from True Value, which made it easy to determine pricing for those items since they provide a suggested retail. Our pricing strategy is broken down first by SKU movement and then by price. It was determined that any item with a price point of $20 or higher, no matter the movement, we would match our competitor's price as long as it was not below our cost. The next category would be items that fell in the $15 through $19.99 area. Of those, all A and B movement items would equal the True Value MSRP. The C items would take True Value pricing plus 5%. The D and X items in this category would be True Value plus 10%. The last category for pricing rules is the 1 penny to $14.99 area. Of this category, A and B movement items would equal the competitor's price. The C items would equal competitor plus 5%. The D and X items would be competitor plus 10%. If any of the SKUs did not have a competitor price or they were not a True Value item, then we would create its own competitive price point. It was also decided that for now we would maintain consistency and price items as a company instead of per location, even though each location has different competitors. We would also be price matching local businesses within a 10-mile radius with proof of product and price. The associated costs for the better pricing strategy equal $32,100. As you can see, a majority of the cost includes employee wages and the cost of this program, while $1,000 is set aside for the branded hang tag POP materials, for a grand total of $32,100 in this first year. In return, we project that the ROI will show a minimum of a 2% revenue increase which totals $245,517.77 per year. The figure on the left side of the screen is data that I pulled after a cost increase and a 2% margin increase on Bear Mountain wood pellets. This comparison was done from December 2019 compared to December 2020. Overall, sales have decreased slightly, but we have still seen an increase in revenue of $1,511.43. With this better pricing strategy, we will see increased margins, increased revenues, better price perception for Blau Co-op, and an increased average transaction size. By improving our pricing perception, we can prove to our B2B customers that they can buy all their products at Blau Co-op and transition them to B2C. My goal is to create a pricing strategy and update system that will be a long-term solution in providing our customers with the best prices and maximize profitability for Blau Co-op. In addition to achieving a loyal customer base by offering the best prices, this will also open doors for other programs to be successful, such as True Value Rewards. True Value Rewards is a program that we've been looking into, but didn't feel that it would be profitable with our current data. After implementation, we hope to see an average of $30,604 in incremental net profit per location. So in conclusion, Blau Co-op is paving the way of the future for farm cooperatives. All of the strides we are making with innovation, technology, and world-class facilities means nothing without competitive pricing. We are working on changing better prices to the best prices. Thank you.
All right, Danica, great job. Again, you can breathe now. I'm sure the judges have some questions for you. Kim, let's start with you.
Sure. Thank you. Great job on that presentation. I think that's really great. And you had a lot of good data points. I have a couple of questions for you when it comes to Frontline. You talked about tagging the lower items with a special tag so the customer will know that it's a lower tag and that the employees will change the tag out and then let the team know when it's ready. Are you concerned about the gap of time between when a price gets put up? Let's say you put an item up for $3.99, they lowered the price to $2.99, let's just say. They flagged it so that I would know as a customer that it's cheaper. I get to the register and it didn't work. Are you concerned about the lag of time there?
So, not really. So what I did is I did a survey with managers and asked them basically how much time they would allow for employees to have. And most of them put under 5 hours per week. So basically that should get done in a day, in an afternoon, if not 2 days max. So I'm really not that worried about it.
Okay, and then as for the second question, which kind of covers, it may cover any of the issues that pop up there, are you going to offer some training to the staff in the front line to learn about when price changes do roll out, how to handle situations that may come up like that, and why, maybe educate them a little bit on why there is some price changes, especially if you're doing a big dramatic change?
Yeah, and so I kind of touched on that, how we want to showcase value both internally and externally. So that's where we're showcasing value internally to our employees, is we're showing them that we are watching these prices. We want to offer our customers the best prices. So we'll be showing them that by lowering those prices. And then also as for the training, most of our employees, if they're retail specialists, they know how to print out bin tags when they merchandise, when they put away stock. They have their RF guns with them. So basically, it's kind of the same as that. The only thing that we will have to instruct them on is when to put out the new lower branded hang tag.
Great. Yeah, I just would make sure you know that the staff knows how to handle a customer questioning.
Oh, yes.
A lot of price changes, because it does happen. But excellent job. I can see the impact it can have on your organization. Great job.
Thank you.
Josiah.
Yeah, once again, great job on your presentation. I think we're coming off from a year that customers were more seeking out availability versus price. I think we can all recognize that fact. And I like the strategy that you're taking on the lower priced items. You know, one thing that we're all faced with, and we should all be realizing this, is increased wages. Everybody should be shaking their head yes on increased wages. And with increased wages comes the importance of productivity. And so two things that we are really focused on in 2021 is sales and productivity with the increased wages. And you got to pay for these increased wages somehow. And productivity, margin enhancements all help with that, and creating a pricing strategy that is going to be beneficial. So Danica, nice job on your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Rob.
All right. Great job, Danica. Really just one question. I was a little bit confused as to how what data are you using to make your pricing decisions?
Mm-hmm. So, so basically here, I can go back to that slide. So basically, it's here based off of SKU movement and then also the price point. And so, like I said, 70% of our items come from True Value, which makes it really easy to go ahead and price those.
Okay, so how does competitor data come into that?
So that's for those items that are between 1 penny and under $15, basically anything under $15. That's where we're matching our competitor. And so that's where our competitive analysis came in. And then also, we just call around, we look them up online, all of that good stuff. But we are not using, as of right now, we have not found like a system like Margin Master or anything like that to utilize.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I'm still on the hunt for.
Yeah. Maybe, we could pair you and Austin right now. Maybe you two talk later about that as an option. I mean, I think to make it a little more scientific, maybe, and to, because you're talking about a lot of SKUs and, manually trying to keep up with it's going to be, it just doesn't really work very well. But great project. Great job. I'm not trying to take away from anything. I think you did a great job.
And one thing that I didn't really touch on is the pricing calendar. So the way that how often we will price shop those items is based on dollar per SKU as well. So our higher dollar SKUs will be price shopped more often than the lesser dollar SKUs.
Yeah. Overall, for you four, just truly phenomenal job. Great presentations. Just great. The whole group, Kim and Scott and I talked about this the other day when we met. Just proud of you guys. Really good job. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic job to all 4 finalists. It was hard to pick just 4 of you. And there were some students who were right there. And so as we talked about earlier, now is the time to have the students vote for the top presenter in the class. So presenters, please abstain from voting. We'll let the rest of the class figure out who the top voter is. And it looks like this screen just popped up. And so it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so we'll get back to this in a little bit. I want to, while everyone's voting, Katie, are we gonna hide this so we can announce it at the end, or maybe we can't?
Yeah, they see a different screen than you see.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, boy, we're going to wait till the end for this. So I'm seeing a different
They
screen.
should just see the 4 names. They can pick the vote. And for anyone who is not voting, so sponsors or anyone who's not voting, they can just exit out.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Like, okay, we're going to give this away early. That's okay. While the votes are being tallied and before we announce the winner, I would like to make a very special presentation to a cause that is really near and dear to me personally and to everyone at the association. As I said earlier, each year since 2014, we've had Josiah Gates from Obashan return to each RMCP session, which is amazing to do twice a year. Up until this year where we only had 1 class as an alumni instructor. He has taught various subjects during that time. And for example, in November, he taught a class about Obashan's budgeting process, a hot topic, and one that he taught in a way where students could see a real world case study of how a company in our industry sets their budgets and all that entails. Our work with Obashan Hardware for RMCP really goes back to before we even launched the program, before Josiah and his class attended in 2013, when it was just a concept. It started with a discussion between Marcus Moran Jr., who is formerly president of Obashan Hardware, and our former CEO, Bill Lee. They both started talking about the need for a program like this to help not only Obashan's key people, but for all independent retailers. Marcus saw that consolidation that was taking place in the industry, and coupled with a lack of succession planning, which is a huge problem for our industry. And he paired those together and knew that we needed a program of this magnitude to help prepare the next generation for success. So first, it's a long list here too. Marcus helped us design the course curriculum, hosting meetings at their headquarters before we launched it with their entire executive team and our first group of university instructors. And we discussed in detail what a program like this should entail. And then we dialed these instructors into the specifics of our industry, which is so important to make it applicable to our industry. After that, he helped us figure out, after we figured out how to do that, he made a commitment to send students. I think the first few classes had 2 students from Obashan Hardware. He knew we needed to get some wind beneath our wings, so to speak, to get this thing off the ground. So he made a commitment to support it and send students. He also talked to many of his manufacturer friends and helped us launch the scholarship program, which so many students have benefited from through the years. And then finally, he accepted our offer to teach a case study on acquisitions. Marcus used to teach at the university level. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, which he taught a case study. It was actually our capstone case alongside Josiah for 4 years until he became too ill to do so. He would not accept compensation. So to show our gratitude, we became a contributor to something called the Moran Fund, which was established to help Obashan employees in need. Sadly, Marcus passed away a little over a year ago, and we all dearly miss him. But to honor his legacy and to show our gratitude to Josiah for his continued participation after each of the classes, we make a donation of $2,500 to the Moran Fund, which helps Obashan employees in need. So now I would like to ask Josiah to accept this donation and to say a few words about Marcus and the Moran Fund, if you would, Josiah.
Absolutely, Scott. And so I look back a little bit, and before I dive in here, I just want to take a minute and first of all recognize you, Rob, Kim, I know Gary and Philip and all the efforts that go in behind the scenes to make this NHPA RMCP program what it is today. So congratulations and thank you for all your efforts and everyone else that works so diligently behind the scenes, especially in 2020, where it's certainly had its challenges with COVID, with travel, with virtual and non-virtual, in person. So first, thank you to you and everyone else that has worked on the program.
Thank you.
And then, and secondly is all the students in a crazy year to participate and want to further your education and further your development. I know Marcus would be very proud of each of you and your accomplishments this year. And then thirdly, just to comment on the presentations, and I got to see 4 today, and very, very well done across the board, and just great students and great efforts. And I had the privilege of teaching each of you virtually, and I enjoyed that, and I would like to continue to be a resource to any one of you down the road. And I'd love to meet you in person one of these days. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Now on to Marcus and Actually, while I'm at it, the distributors and the manufacturers, thank you for your support of the program. Usually we have a nice dinner where we sit around the table, and I missed that this year, but thank you for all your support of the program as well. So back in 2013, and Bill Aubuchon is on this as well, and he's in a little sunnier weather than I am. I'm looking out to a little bit of snow right now, but you know, I've had the privilege of working for Aubuchon for 25 years, and Bill and Marcus kind of pulled me out of the great state of Vermont, and I came down to Massachusetts, and I've worked with the executive team for the last 8 years. And in doing so, I had the opportunity to really work closely with Marcus and Bill over the years. And Marcus was a true friend of mine. And in 2013, he said, Josiah, I'd like you to take this RMCP program. He said, you could probably teach it, but I want you to take it and critique it and work with Scott. So I did just that. And then the following years, as Scott mentioned, I had the opportunity to give back to the industry. And Marcus would want it no other way. He really appreciated me, and Marcus kind of became my wingman through the RMCP program. Every time we had a class to go to, I would pick him up at his house. I'd take him to the airport. I'd help him. And as the years went on, it was his legs were bothering him, and it wasn't uncommon for me to help him through an airport in a wheelchair or whatever it may be, just so he could make it out to the RMCP program. And he was always so thankful. And I remember when he, just some of the trips that we went on and all the crazy events, you know, with Marcus and traveling, but I wouldn't trade any of that in for a moment for what he always meant to the industry and giving back to the industry. And what he did to the industry, he always did to his people and that worked in the company. He was always the first to help somebody in need. You know, I remember one time when I had an issue, you know, he's quick to open his wallet. Josiah, I don't know how to fix it, but I can help pay for it. And he'd open up his wallet and he'd give me $50 or $100 and he'd say, go get your car fixed or whatever it may be. And just that kind of guy. So when he stepped down as president and CEO in 2015, we established the Moran Fund in his honor. And the Moran Fund is set up to help employees in need. And since 2015, we have helped over 116 recipients to the tune of $229,000. So it's a pretty remarkable number that we've been able to give back to our employees in need. And the other thing I'd like to mention is this is primarily employee funded. So employees contribute to the Moran Fund, and then when somebody's in need, we help them out. And we've done everything from putting roofs on people's houses to medical bills to help covering funeral expenses, you name it. And I've seen tears in people's eyes, and it's very rewarding to be able to help people in this way. And Marcus wouldn't have wanted to see it any other way. So Scott, I thank you for the contribution to the Moran Fund. I know there was only one class this year, and I know you usually do it for each class. So I would like to personally match the other 2,500. So you're doing 2,500. I'm going to personally match the other 2,500 because we typically put 5,000 in the Moran Fund each year, and I personally would like to do that. And Marcus would love seeing me do that, and I feel good about doing that. So I brought my checkbook today, and I'm going to write it.
That's a fantastic gesture, Josiah.
Thank you.
Gesture. We're happy to do it and can't wait till we can get back to doing 2 classes a year. So now, I would like to, you mentioned that another one of your colleagues from Obashan Hardware is on the call. I want to make another special presentation in the memory of Marcus in a way that continues to honor his legacy and his love for this program that Josiah just talked about. So it's time to present the inaugural Marcus Moran Jr. Best in Class Award to the student who demonstrates the qualities that Marcus always embodied, in my opinion anyway, including leadership, humility, compassion, and a dedication to excellence. And so we're very, very, very fortunate to have another great friend of the association with us today from Obashan to help us present this, and that's Bill Obashan, who is the former chairman and CEO. Bill ran the company alongside Marcus, who was his cousin, for years, for decades. They were an incredible team and really grew the company exponentially during their time at the helm. So like Marcus, Bill has been so instrumental in helping the association fulfill our mission. At the same time, it's interesting, at the same time we were launching the RMCP program, we were working alongside Bill to launch our Retailer Roundtable series, which now consists of 7 or 8 different roundtables with more than 100 retailers involved on an annual basis, and that all started through Bill. So this program has certainly helped NHPA perform what I always consider to be the main purpose of a trade association, our main purpose, and that is to associate, to bring retailers together, to learn with each other and from each other exactly how we do it in RMCP. So Bill was gracious enough to join us, and I'd like him now to maybe say a few words about Marcus and his passion for education and for this program. Bill?
Scott, thank you so very much. You've left me with nothing to say. Everybody that has said something appropriate about Marcus, it's already been said. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next year. I won't cop out in that way. I will say that thank you very much for the honor of being able to speak for my cousin, who you mentioned. We were, just to start off, but quickly, we were first cousin and absolutely best buds, first friends for over 70 years, and we worked together at Obashan for over 50 years. So to say that we didn't know each other would not be particularly accurate. So, and I know the focus of this particular presentation is on education and the RMCP program, but I want everybody to understand the totality of this individual, because in addition to his love of education and teaching and the way in which he did it, he was also a remarkable executive, very deep in both scholarship and experience in finance, in human resources, in labor negotiations, and as mentioned, because he made a class out of it, mergers and acquisitions. This was an exceptional executive in many, many ways. Additionally, he found the time to be involved with his community. We wouldn't have the time to mention all of the organizations that Marcus touched over his time with the company, but it approached 40 to 45, many of whom honored him at one time or another. And the last thing I'd like to mention about Marcus was he was the company's #1 humanitarian in many ways. Josiah already mentioned one example, but there were virtually hundreds that came as testimonials from our associates in the stores that, upon learning of Marcus's passing, didn't hesitate to mention their love for him and how he was able to reach out and touch them personally. So I wanted to present a more holistic view of Marcus before I stepped in to address what you wanted me to touch on. Teaching, it's already been mentioned, but Marcus began teaching before he joined the company at several New England community colleges and universities. He then joined the company, and he found time to teach part-time in many of those institutions of higher learning as well. So Marcus was almost a born teacher. His desire to support the aspirations of young people have really always been there, and they found their roots additionally within the company, because he saw teaching as one of his primary responsibilities within the company, on top of, addressing the functional areas that I just mentioned. So his passion was pretty deeply rooted. When it came time, as you mentioned, Scott, that he and Bill got together and foresaw an opportunity for the association to reach out and perhaps provide even more support to its members, that he was the natural choice. This was something that he just fed on, right? This was right up his alley. It was just so beautiful to see a lot of what he was able to bring to the classes at RMCP was through his own scholarship and his own experience. If that was the mergers and acquisitions, he completed 50 of those for the company during his stay in that position. So, I want to conclude by saying that, a remarkable person, my best bud. Okay, we were pretty tight, not only within the company as associates, but on a human level and on a very personal level. Boy, I'll tell you, these times are hard. It's already been mentioned a number of times, and it's not only COVID. We know what's going around. He would be, I want to pull back from the humanitarian comment I made earlier. He would be the first to reach out to every one of our associates with an empathetic ear and a compassionate hand. Excuse me for just a moment. That was ill-timed. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I should have shut that off. I apologize. In conclusion, I just want to say, the expression, the people are sometimes called, that person, that guy, that gal, what a people person that person is. And it's a good expression. Now, Marcus walked the talk. Marcus was the real deal there. I can't tell you what kind of positive impact he had on the lives of people. You know it. I'm sure everybody that has had the opportunity to be with him in either a social way or in a more formal way, such as involved with the RMCP program, know what I'm talking about. So I want to thank you. And on behalf of the Moran family, I've been given the privilege of maybe saying a few words here this afternoon, but I am speaking on behalf of Tanya, the 3 children, the 7 and 8 of the grandchildren when I express my views. And on behalf of all of them, thank you so very much for honoring Marcus in this way, and well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. Certainly appreciate you taking time to do this. And we owe you such a great debt of gratitude for helping support this program, launch other programs, and just overall helping us fulfill our mission. So it's great to see you, my friend, and take care. Okay, so let's announce who the recipient of this award is. The Marcus Moran Jr. Best in Class Award. Let me say, it's not just a leadership award or one that solely focuses on academic achievements. It's what I call the whole package award. And it's probably best described in this case by the student's actions during the semester. For example, in class, the student was always one of the first to comment when questions were asked, There was no fear of speaking out, and the students' comments always either started a great discussion or carried the discussion forward to a higher level. The student was fully invested in the business improvement competition and the project, and asked for feedback when it was offered, and fully utilized all of the resources that we made available. On the sponsor calls, the student was always fully engaged and asked so many great questions that I know impressed not only his sponsors, but Kim and I as well. The student brought the class together in so many different ways, connecting the group with what I always said and saw in this person as an authentic charm that everyone wanted to be around. And when I sent out the email announcing the 4 finalists, this student, who did not make the finals, by the way, within minutes emailed me back and said they were looking forward to today's meeting and showed me extreme humility and sportsmanship. So I think by now the rest of the class probably knows who I'm talking about, so I won't delay any further. The Marcus Moran Jr. Best in Class Award for the 2020 class goes to Corby Russell from Paul B. Hardware. Corby, congratulations and fantastic job this semester, my friend. Would you like to say anything?
Wow, that's a great privilege, and I appreciate it. And I loved all the time we got to be together out there in Indianapolis and get to know people and just the conversations we've had out there. I felt like we really grew as a team and as a group together, and I appreciated all the time you guys spent too, because I know it wasn't easy for you, Scott, Kim, and Rob, and just pulling all this together, and it was awesome. So thank you very much for everything.
You're very, very, very welcome. And as Bill just alluded to, the Moran family really wanted to be a part of today's presentation. In fact, Marcus's son, Marcus Moran III, was planning on being part of the call, but he was called away with some travel that prevented him from doing so. So what he and I talked about just this morning is that you and he and I will schedule a Zoom meeting where the 3 of us can get to know each other. They want to get to know you better and want to talk a little bit more about Marcus and his passion for this. So thanks so much again, Corby, and job well done. So now, you're welcome. You're welcome. Back to the presentation finals and the moment we've all been waiting for, the results from the class voting for the top presenter in the 2020 RMCP class. So drum roll, please. And the winner is Cecily Cochran. Yay! Fantastic job, Cecily. Your project was just one of the best we've seen in the history of the program, and you did such a great job presenting it live today and answering all of Dr. Rob's tough questions. So thank you so much for your hard work and dedication and all the time you put into this. It is much appreciated. And thank you so much to the entire class. Like Rob said, the entire class did such a fantastic job. And it was hard to pick these 4, and it was hard to pick the top presenter, but Cecily, you did it. Congratulations, great job. We'll be sending you a special gift from RMCP for your accomplishment. Hint, hint, it's probably something you read. We love to give out books on leadership for this sort of thing. So again, congratulations. Okay, so that gets us really close to the finish of today's presentation. And the one thing I want to say to the students is we're not done yet. Tomorrow, you will all be receiving information on the final assignment, which is the Quick Wins assignment, which you will all be working on between now and mid-March. We want you all to complete several assignments to help you continue to learn and derive value from this program, and additional ROI on top of the great ROI that you're bound to get with these projects. So we'll be starting to schedule the post-visit 3 calls next week, and we'll schedule those over the final 2 weeks. So with that, everyone, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. It was a great afternoon. I want to wish everyone good health and continued success for the years to come. So thank you, everyone. And students and sponsors, we'll be talking to you soon. Take care.